Welcome, everyone, to the Canavos Show, Dreams and Dreaming. We've got a great guest for you tonight. When Lisa Barnett wrote The Infinite Wisdom of the Akashic Records, she knew she had an instant success on her hands. Since then, she's written another book, and we're going to be talking to her tonight about her second book. She is the founder of the Akashic Knowing School of Wisdom. And so let's open this discussion, Lisa, with what you do with this school, because it sounds so fascinating.
Absolutely. Thank you. So the Akashic Knowing School of Wisdom is the school in which I teach people, students all over the world, often online, which is always fun to be able to do now. I teach them to access soul guidance, to learn about their soul plan, contracts, karma, what they came to do. And I can do that by teaching them the 5-step wisdom prayer system I've been given from the Akashic Record Keepers.
So do you have your first book with you? Can you hold it up and show it to us? Because I got your second book, but I want to see the first one too.
Yes, and you know, it's kind of cute because, well, they kind of match. So the infinite wisdom of the Akashic Records, it's very heart-centered work. Many people consider the Akashic Records the library of your soul. And so this is very much what this first book is about, how to access your soul library, the infinite wisdom of your soul. So very profound and deep work. And it's the Akashic Record Keepers have asked that we bring this back, this divine guidance, to help empower people with this amazing tool.
You know what I really, really like about the title of your book is the word knowing. And there's a big difference between believing in something, you know, your belief, and I believe in believing. But there's a big difference between believing and knowing. Knowing means you have had some sort of a relationship with something, and you have brought that information back, and it's no longer a belief. You know. And so you have done that and shared that with us in the book, just as I've done that with dreams. I know there's something on the other side because my dreams have told me, and then they came true. And I was able to validate them in the waking world. So your book, Knowing, is really important to me. That word knowing makes all the difference in the world. How did you come up with this title?
Well, everything I literally do is, and on my little Post-its here, everything I do is really soul-driven. So when I learned to access the infinite wisdom of the Akashic Records, interestingly, also my business name is Akashic Knowing, because claircognizance, the knowingness in our heart, is that deep, deep truth, that knowing of a truth with a capital T. And so many years ago, that is the name I was given for my business, Akashic Knowing School of Wisdom. And so when they said, we want you to write a prayer book to bring these, this profound and yet simple tool to the world, of course, it was like, what do we call it? And they talked to me about going from this place of confusion and questioning and the unknown. People are at a crossroads. We want to move forward and we don't know how. So it was really very much about going from questioning and confusion to a deep heart-centered knowing, that claircognitive state of wisdom.
So we do have all those. Wow. I think that we have a lot of energy going through our computers right now. So it sounded like all of our spirit guides turned everything up to not miss any words. So you are also a 10-year prayer practitioner at the Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living in San Francisco Bay Area. So you had a lot of that in your book, don't you?
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So when the Akashic Masters, so we all have beings of light that keep our soul library, which is so handy. And so when they said to me, write the next book, I said, okay, what do you want to write it about? And they said, it's a prayer book. And I was like, oh, really? Well, we just wrote a book all about the Akashic Records and how to access them for yourself. And I'm surprised. I thought it would be more Akashic healing. And they said, you spent 10 years doing this healing prayer work, and Golden Gate Center for Spiritual Living is part of the New Thought movement, like the Unity Church, like Agape down in LA, all part of the sister churches. And so they said, it's profound and deep work, and we will imbue these prayers with source energy, with the Akashic wisdom, love, and light. And so it makes for a very pure, unconditional loving experience when we do these prayers.
That's amazing. So let me ask you, how did you come to get Jack Canfield to write the foreword of your book? How did that happen?
Well, I met Jack at a gathering, and he said, he's such a sweet man. He said, what do you do? And I said, well, I access the Akashic Records for people, for souls. I teach people to do this. This is my sole purpose. And he said, really, I love the Akashic Records. And he told me a story about a reading he had had many, many years ago. And we just really hit it off. We stayed in touch and emailed. And, I offered to do a reading session for him. And, kind of just, we connected. And I said, would you write the foreword for my new book? And he said, of course, I would love to. So that's how it came about.
That is amazing. So, I was looking through your book at all of the different prayers, and there was one that just kind of jumped out at me. And it's called Prayer to Release Disappointment. Is that a timely prayer or what?
Yes, it is. Of the 73 prayers, I was reading that one this morning myself.
Were you really? Oh, my goodness.
I really was.
Well, if you don't mind, I'd love to read it to our audience now.
I would love that. Thank you.
Okay, so if you're watching right now, or even when you watch later, a lot of you will be downloading this show later, just get nice and comfortable right now, and I'm going to read this prayer to you. Kind of close your eyes and feel the prayer. Prayer to release disappointment. Mother, Father, Goddess, God, please support me today as I move forward on my path. I release the old vibration of disappointment to empower myself with the truth that everything is in divine right order. So it is, blessed be. How simple. How strong. I mean, just reading it gives me goosebumps. When you think that you're disappointed, when you think things aren't going your way, it's all about divine timing. And it's so important.
It truly is. And there's so many just beautiful, simple prayers. Of course, 73 of them to assist with all sorts of emotions and feelings and thoughts and beliefs, so that we can really elevate our vibration and start to move forward with ease and grace. Because, of course, we want it to be easy, don't we?
Oh, we do. So, I know a lot of our audience is they're going to understand this, but I always like to capture the interest of the people who may not understand any of what we're talking about here. So tell us a little bit about the light beings that you were describing earlier.
Absolutely. Yeah, so each soul, when we individuate from source, our soul goes on a journey. And when that happens, everything we ever do, every place, every life here on earth, or other places, planes and dimensions, everything is recorded in divine source. Just like if we imagine it's getting recorded in the cloud, or if we walked around with a little GoPro on our heads and everything we saw was recorded. Now, because we're very ancient souls, we have hundreds and thousands of lifetimes. And so not only do we have a library of our experiences, we have our own personal librarians. And these beings are pure divine energy. They've never been human. They have no judgment or opinion. There is no right or wrong in their world, which is phenomenal, because when we speak to them, when they assist us and guide us, there is pure unconditional love. There is no judgment. It is all about our next steps. What can we learn? What did we come to do? So it's very supportive and warm and fuzzy. I often have clients who will, when I'll open their Akashic Records, they're moved to tears because they feel that love. Like, we really rarely feel wrapped in that cocoon of the divine love. And that's what many, many people feel when they step into their Akashic Records or do these prayers.
That's amazing. So if, is there some way you can describe what they look like? Have you ever seen them?
Well, they are, they're etheric beings, and so the way they look tends to be a little bit more of an outpicturing of our beliefs. So the funny thing is, when I first started to access the Akashic Records, I would see it like a big stone library, and my librarians would be wizards. And so very often they look much more like kind of glowing light. And so what I find is, when I access different records for different clients, they look different because it's connected to your soul and the way where your soul has been and what your soul has done. So often that's an outpicturing of who you are on a soul level. So less a real form and more of an energy being.
So some of our audience that are probably wondering right now if they can connect to their soul, to their spirit beings and to their Akashic library, can they do that?
Absolutely. So there are quite a few different ways to do that, and one is to take a class. And those are one of the things that I love to share with people, to teach you to hold that space and that energy. Because years ago, the Akashic Masters said to me, this is a profound empowerment tool that it's important to bring back to humanity at this point. And so that is part of my intention with teaching classes online. And of course, actually, this first book, The Infinite Wisdom of the Akashic Records, teaches you the simple steps to start to access your own Akashic record. So people can do this for themselves. And of course, I love to do the energy healing and the deep dive for clients. And so I love to share that and do Akashic record readings for people.
So Lisa, I cannot believe the noise that we're getting on this. It's like it's really intense here now. It wasn't doing that earlier when we first started. Lisa, how can our audience find you?
There's so much information on my website, which is akashicknowing.com. So very simply, I know you'll have that posted, but it's AKASHICKNOWING, akashicknowing.com. And you'll find consultations, you'll find classes. I am even doing the Ancient Mysteries Revealed, a cruise in November. I'm very excited to share all about the ancient wisdom and mysteries of the Akashic Records on a cruise to Mexico. So if people are interested in diving into this work, so many ways to do that.
And how can they find your book?
They are both on Amazon.com, and you will find links on my website. And also, if you go to my website, I have 3 free gifts for people that are connected to my prayer book. There are 5 prayers for self-love. There are meditations for being guided, guarded, and protected, and for being in this amazing column of Akashic energy. So you can go to akashicknowing.com and download 3 free gifts.
Well, I think we're in the Akashic energy right now, because I'll tell you, my headset here is going berserk. And it doesn't do that very often. It's usually somebody who's really a master that will set everything off like this. So it's amazing. Well, I want to thank you so very much for being on the show with us tonight. And for those of you who are listening, I will be blogging this show, putting it on Pathos, and it will go into Biz Analytics 360 as well. So you will be able to watch it again there, and also read some more information that I will be taking out of her packet that we didn't get to talk about here, but is very, very interesting. So again, thank you so much for being on the show with us tonight, Lisa Barnett, and her book, From Questioning to Knowing. Good night, everybody.